Unlike Project Number One's displacement of the city's residents, the committee's main focus, even at the start of the project, was to place the community in the center of their planning process. The committee opened up a storefront office to gather the community's feedback on the project. This is the window inside the store. The store was located in the Gibbs Arcade Building, a popular downtown landmark in the center of the city. The reason for this location was due to its central location between all social classes in Dayton. Even the poorest citizen would feel at home, one committee member said. The office was near bus routes and the courthouse square, a popular lunchtime spot. The committee encouraged people to stop in and share their ideas on their lunch break. The committee used ideas from the citizens to brainstorm all the different possible visitors that would use the project. One way was to roleplay, portraying a wide range of visitors. The planning committee invited everyone from city planners to housewives to stop into the storefront and provide suggestions for the project. Most of the information came from personal interviews and comment cards from the citizens who dropped into the office. Planners also mailed out questionnaires to 1,000 owners of property adjacent to the river and even used the Dayton Daily News as a questionnaire to gather feedback. Working around the fishbowl table, as the committee called it, they began to finalize plans, and the store visits from the citizens became more of a critique. The plans were adjusted as residents made suggestions and critiques. In April of 1976, there was a 50-member workshop that served as the main resource for determining the community attitude on the project. The group consisted of community organizations, businesses, institutions, and agencies directly affected by the study. The panel meetings began with a walking tour, bringing attention to the river's potential. To reach a wider audience, the committee even utilized television, the first time TV had been used in community design. 6 live, hour-long design-a-thons on Channel 16 premiered, where visitors were asked to phone in to the telephone operators so their ideas could be aired and their concerns discussed. As the calls came in, sketches were drawn and posted on a large map. By the end of the hour, over 60 viewer ideas had been compiled and displayed on the map. Through the design-a-thons, the committee realized that Zone 3, which was chosen by the citizens panel, was the location for the majority of architecture work. This coincided with Kylie's suggestion a few years before to give the most attention to Zone 3 because of the location near the central business district. The main proposal in Zone 3 was a 6-acre parking lot next to the YMCA. The plans for the lot were either a public park with a lake or a residential private development. The residential development was favored, for many residents wanted to be in walking distance to their work in the central business district. Through the citizens' feedback, Zone 2 became favored as the area along the river corridor that held the most potential for attracting visitors. A few ideas that were attractive to the citizens and to the committee involved a riverwalk development similar to San Antonio, Texas. The Miami-Erie Canal that ran parallel to the Great Miami River was to be recovered from underneath the pavement, filled with water, to create a waterfront mixed-use area. This was the road that lies on top of the canal in 1968, and the canal waterfront design for that same area. A unique children's zoo is also planned for Zone 2. The Riverdesign Dayton team finished with their plans in 1977 and even published a book on the plans and implementation. But why has Dayton remained undeveloped along the river for over 30 years? This portion of the Great Miami River was supposed to be transformed into these design plans. This was the site for the canal water development that was never constructed, and what it looked like in 1988. What happened? What parts of current-day Dayton emerged from the Riverdesign project? The architecture firm Lawrence and Williams took over the Riverdesign construction process, and the first structure, the amphitheater, was completed in 1981. Although the amphitheater was used for a few events, it was not as popular as the team had once anticipated. By the end of the 1970s, the Downtown Kiwanis Club took on the project of putting on a floating garden in the Great Miami River, costs coming close to $20,000. A current member of the Kiwanis Club remembers seeing the garden on the river behind the Y for several years. It had to be taken out of the river at the end of the summer and stored on the riverbank upstream by where the Jewish temple is now. One year, the late spring rains broke it loose from its anchor and it was washed nearly over the low dam, so it was discontinued after that. It always had a lot of trouble to store it upstream because it had to be partly dismantled and towed over a special route to avoid power lines. Without residential and city opposition, it's a great surprise and disappointment that these plans never evolved from the planning stage. The project did, however, have a few flaws that could have led to its failure to break ground. The price tag for the entire project was close to $4 million, and there were several interests that had a stake in the project. Rumors of a failed private-public partnership were to blame. Or was it that the designs for the river corridor were not realistic, as seen in the broken floating garden? This fragmented and stagnant development of Riverside Dayton led to the River Corridor Committee ending its work and closing up in 1980. Regardless of the physical result of Riverside Dayton, the project was evident that there was much potential for the city of Dayton in commercial and residential development. The project was also evident that the river could be used to make the city more attractive rather than harm the city through flooding. As the years pass since Riverside Dayton, the dreams of an idealistic Dayton are forgotten. But what we are left with is an excellent case study of using the community in physical planning. Despite other failures, the inclusion of people make Riverside Dayton a revolutionary project for Dayton, Ohio.